Welcome to the bold analysis. Today I was in town late in the evening, and I realized just talks. I tried to throw in a discussion on what do you guys expect on 20th March, and I can tell you that there is that fear of uncertainty on what exactly will happen. And just just while we were there, I realized that Raila Odinga team and Martha Karua, they threw in a statement that Monday, 20th, will be a public holiday. And someone said, what's the intention of that? The 20th call for the call for 20th to be a public holiday is also a strategy that seems to have been brought up, or a statement that seems to have been brought up to just prepare the country or prepare the supporters and the public on what can happen. We're in this country, and we must be sensitive of the fact that things can always go wrong by design or just by things. Just it doesn't just can be designed to go wrong, or they can start good and end wrong and end wrong. I think for those who are doing business, there is a school of thought, and it is what the leaders have been saying, that Azimio la Umoja will bring confrontation and we will loot people's businesses. But we need to agree here, and we need to be very sensitive to this fact that in terms of security, your security, it doesn't really entirely it doesn't entirely rather depend on what Azimio does. It also depends on what you do as a person, or as a person doing business. And this can also, you never know. Sonko once told us that under Jubilee 2017, they used to walikuwa wananunua magari wanachoma so that they blame it on ODM. Even political opponents can even do very murky things to blame it on the Azimio wing, so that they try to make the one become very dirty, so that police, maybe it will be a ground to unleash more police, to issue more threats, and even to ban subsequent mass action if it was to be there. And we will see that happening going forward. So the fear aspect of interrupting people's business, I think, is something that is a reality, that there are those who really feel. But again, in terms of creating the momentum, I think Azimio is really trying their best to try to create the momentum and to create the hype and to make a stage for what the day would look like. Starting a confrontation with police could actually lead to banning of the protest and can create a chaotic environment. But one thing I have realized is leaders coalescing around President Ruto have been praising, they've created some worship, some praise and worship team around the president. And they're really telling the country the way, huyu ni chuma ya zamani, yule aliuziwa uoga, sasa huyu hata uziwa uoga. And I know, someone said that those who tell you the truth, face you in the eye and tell you the truth, those are your true friends. But someone who cannot see a mistake in you, that is not your friend. Mtu ambaye haezi ona makosa kwako, yeye anaona tu wewe uko sawa. That one is your enemy, and that one can dance with your enemy. So that praise and worship, and those who seems to have created that narrative, that there is this narrative that what Raila is doing is just to sell fear. To William Ruto, so that William Ruto can call him for a handshake. And that narrative, according to me, has been created. It's just a diversion from what is going on. The discussion that I think the country and the leadership should be having is about the IBC issue, the cost of living issue, and the electoral reforms. I think we should be having that discussion. But we seems to have created a lot of diversions by going to profile personality of the president. No one, you don't need magic to know that, okay, William Ruto is a president. He's already a president, and he has the sword, and he can do everything. So the whole of praising it, who you need, I think there's no whole point of that. I find those kind of utterances a bit reckless, simplistic, and just headless. For me, they don't have a bearing. It's simply just trying to praise without being objective. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our video. Thank you very much for those who are supporting us. Why do you think Raila settled on Nairobi? Why do you think he decided to, instead of trying to fire up the different bases, to turn up and protest in a situation where you normally see Kisumu is protesting, like in the past you see Kisumu protesting, Mombasa, Kakamega, and I know many people were expecting that immediately that mass action will be, and I've seen that narrative being created, that Raila seems to have lost the hype, because what many would have expected is different areas would have emerged, and started protesting about the way things are happening. But the decision to settle and bring it in Nairobi, according to me, was a MasterCard. It was a MasterCard because when you feel it, when you decentralize it, you simply come out and profile the protest. In fact, you will actually profile people. You will see areas where, and I remember when there was that mini protest in Kisumu and Migori, there were a lot of profiling of the community, and I come from that community. So we were really profiled that, the people down there are burning tires and are doing this and wanaharibu vitu zao. But when it is in Nairobi, how are you going to profile individuals, or how are you going to profile communities? How are you going to profile groups? So, and again, gauging the intensity, or rather the success of the strategy when it is decentralized will be a challenge. But then in Nairobi, you'll realize that it will actually cut across. Now, I think the approach is a little bit different from what happened last time. And I want to tell you why Nairobi, to me, is a MasterCard, and why it is really giving it's becoming a big challenge, even for the security advisors around that are now trying to crunch strategies against it. There is a thin line, and there is a discussion of whether protests will be peaceful or not. And as those who are demanding that answer, we all want it to be peaceful. Yes, we all want it to be peaceful. No one goes to harm other people, rather to attack other people's business. And I've always believed, Mtaani in the strike, could protest the high cost of living, he should have no business with other people's businesses. He doesn't have that business. The people that normally go there and do that, are the people that particularly went there for the looting. And they should not be allowed to hide behind those who are protesting peacefully. There is the spirit of Mtadu. We've always said, let them protest. They will protest in the evening, they will finish and go home. So we've always created that spirit of Mtadu. And everyone protesting will always be told, there is nothing you can do, just protest and go home. That has been the narrative that has been created. So with this, I see that will not work, because everyone will have to be brought to the table. So those who've been saying Mtadu, when you do it in Nairobi, the Mtadu aspect, you'll need to answer that question, because the need for ceasefire will arise irrespective of political persuasion. And let's be very honest. There are those who say that the only language that William Ruto will listen to is protest. Yeah. We cannot, and we've been trying to bury our heads in the sand saying, why are they not in the National Assembly? In the National Assembly, the government has the majority. So they will do, everything and anything they want anyhow. They carry their day there. Where else? Press briefing. So even if you call press briefing and talk about these things, what happens? What changes? The government themselves, they have been saying that they don't care what the media is saying. In fact, they don't give media much of that attention because it is a perception that media never supported them. So when this happens, and when it's centralized in Nairobi, the need for ceasefire will arise. Because if someone gonna feel the pinch, then it will not be an Azimio person or Uda person feeling the pinch. Kama mwenye hoteli amesema hoteli yangu mimi hadi sifungui, sasa msiende. It's not about Azimio person and Uda. Everyone else will feel the pinch. And that's why I look at Nairobi, centralizing the protest Nairobi as something, the mass action Nairobi as a strategy that was pulled for summit. Now, here is where all the bodies, international bodies stay, even diplomatic missions here are here in Nairobi. Be it United Nations, be it which body, all the international community will actually get the attention here. Because when things don't go wrong in CPD or in Nairobi, it will affect everything, movement. So when they also can't go to office, they will actually report of what's happening. So that is why people really targeted. And I think as Miola Umoja tried to narrow down to Nairobi. Because we here, you cannot ignore. I think the clerics will see the crisis in the offing. And probably that was the reasoning behind making sure that they restrict themselves to Nairobi. As to whether they can actually marshal the numbers in CBD is a matter of wait and see. I'll see how that will play out. But I really see that in the fullness of time, there is no option. The need for ceasefire will arise.